hello. Thank you for coming to this video. Me, the VTuber talking to you. Hi, my name is Aura. I am one of the people involved with creating the message, or QTM. A bunch of gay people who decided that Netrunner is the best game on earth. And I have dragged my friend Daniel. And June also came by to have a little bit of a fun time doing a game that everybody on YouTube and Twitch is doing. Do you want to present yourself, Daniel, first, and then we'll do June?
Sure. My name is Daniel Billow. I am some guy that Aura knows, and I mostly play Magic the Gathering, which, if you're not familiar, it's like Fortnite, but it's a card game.
And you know way more Magic than you do Netrunner, right?
Yes, I have played about 4 games of Netrunner in the past 5 years.
Perfect.
Almost all pre-pandemic. So.
And we have also the indispensable Juniper. Hi.
Hello, I'm Juniper. Everyone loves me. I'm perfect. I put together a bunch of cards to look at, a bunch of things to compare and see if you can figure out which ones are good, which ones are trash, which ones have been banned, all that stuff. And if you'll allow me, I can introduce the first thing.
Yeah, for sure.
To start off, before we get into the specific cards, since Netrunner has 7 factions, I figured an easy way to start would be, let's look at 2 identities from every faction, because in Netrunner you play with an identity. It's similar to like a commander, basically. So in Netrunner, each faction has 2 identities, so I figured, which one's better? Let's go through each of the factions and figure out which one of the 2 is like the better identity to play as. Which one is generally considered to be more viable? And I might get some flack here because some of these have changed over time, and I know at least one of them I think people are going to go like, oh, I don't know about that, but I think overall it's pretty accurate. Mm-hmm. And they start off pretty easy, but I think they get a little bit harder. So
the game is here of these two cards, which are both identity card for NBN, the big evil TV network faction. Mm-hmm. Also game developer, also all the media in the world forever. Which one do you think is more viable? We have your maximum hand size is increased by 1 for The World Is Yours, asterisk, versus Reality Plus, saying the first time each turn the runner takes a tag, gain 2 credits or draw 2 cards.
It should also be noted there's the other numbers on there, the 40 and the 15 and the 40 and the 12. That is minimum deck size and influence. So how many points of cards you can include from other factions.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was thinking in terms of, okay, this thing can do 40 damage.
No. The 40 is your deck has to be at least 40 cards.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the 12 is similar to how in Commander your deck would have to be all red cards if you're playing a red Commander. Every card in an NBN deck has to be yellow. It has to be an NBN card. However, cards will have a little symbol next to them, a little dots on them to influence how much influence they are, and you get 12 points to go purchase cards from other factions.
For this one. Okay. Or 15 for this one. This is
in the other one. Yeah.
This is a little bit of an older border, and this is the newer border that we use most often.
The second one is the NSG border, the one that Null Signal Games is using.
Gotcha. Okay, so looking at these, I know you have to use an action to draw cards, and it's only increasing your maximum hand size. You would actually have to do something to draw those cards, whereas the other one, that seems like it's actually putting cards in your hand and money in your account. Also, 15's a bigger number than 12.
That's pretty relevant. Yeah.
Yes. All right. This is the expert opinion I'm going with. Reality Plus. That's my guess.
And let me tell you, there have been people that have said that we should ban Reality Plus because it's just that good. So good job. Good job. You got.
Thank you.
I've never seen anyone play The World Is Yours. It's bad. It's just bad. Maybe it was played way back in the day, but like this is so bad that there's a card coming up. There's an identity coming up where maximum hand size is increased by 1 is just one part of the card. It's a minor part of the other abilities.
Yeah.
Like,
Whereas
this is not good.
I don't know what the maximum hand size is in Netrunner.
Yes, it's 5.
In Netrunner, it's 5.
I in my own experience in the card games I play, I tend not to put that much stock in increasing your hand size, just because I figure the 5 best cards in your hand should probably be good enough, right?
Yeah.
Be able to do something with just with a full grip, and if you can't, you got bigger problems.
The coolest part is that not just the draw 2 cards part is relevant, it's very relevant, right?
Yeah.
But you can even do things like this, because this piece of ice over here, it costs 2. But then it gives a tag when you press it. So basically, this you can either choose to pay 2 and draw cards, or this is free and gives your opponent a tag.
Yeah.
And answer run.
Yeah, seems good.
Yeah, no, it's quite good. There's a bunch of other things you can do with it, but that one's pretty easy.
Yeah.
All right, next step.
Okay, these are from Wayland, the faction of going big and going big or going home in a way. And
is the corp most likely to burn down the orphanage? They're the big evil money corp.
Can I have read 0 words on either of these cards, but that one's got a lot of words on it, and I like the look of that.
Yeah.
Having a lot of words.
Yeah, we can go through it real quick. The one on the left says, whenever you play a transaction operation, and transaction operations for context are operations that get you money.
Any operation
gets you money. So any sorcery speed thing that you play from your hand and discard that gives you money, you gain an extra one. And the other says, whenever you trash a card, except during installation, which doesn't super relevant, you can search your deck for a card that's 1 less and install it, which may remind you of for free, which may remind you of something.
Yeah. It's a little food chainy.
It's a little potty. It's a little food chainy. Yeah.
It's that. Okay, so that's drawing. Trashing a card. Do you get anything for trashing a card, or is it just
generally no? But you sometimes use trash cards to get things as a cost.
Okay.
So you will get that thing.
Do something. There are cards that do things when they are trash.
Exactly. So
few of them, not many, but there are.
You will get something for the trash, and on top of it, you are going to search.
Yeah, that being able to search your, I was gonna say library, and they're just called decks. Being able to search your deck, real good. I think my original instinct of that's a lot of words, so it's probably good was right. I think I'm gonna go with the boat one.
Yeah, the boat is good.
Mostly because I wanted to show off, as we call it, boating pod. Boating pod's incredible. Building a better world is fine, but boating pod's incredible. I'm like, here's some cards you could use with it, like border control.
Oh,
you can. That little symbol means trash this to end a run, so you can use that during a run and then go grab something that costs 3 to mess with the runner during the run, or extract makes you money. Yeah,
that seems pretty good.
It's real good.
I had a very nice question for you before we move on. Of these 2 cards, how good do you think they are without pod, without the big boats helping them?
Yeah, how good do you think they are on their own?
So that one it trashes a card in your hand to end the run.
Oh no! This is sacrifice this, trash this.
Sacrifice it.
It's itself to end the run. That already seems really good. In my estimation, I will say that in the 4 games that I've played, I was mostly the runner. But yeah, that. So wait. Extract. That's a maximum of 9 credits. You're gaining 6 just right away.
Yeah. You're up 3 credits, or you're up 6 credits if you trash one of your cards. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. These both seem pretty good.
What do you think is the best one?
Well, free money seems pretty nice, especially with the getting free stuff for it. But running, as I understand it, is like the main thing the opponents do in Netrunner. Hence the name. So I'm gonna say ending a run seems pretty good. I'm gonna say border control.
Yeah, border control is like one of the best Wayland cards ever printed. This gets played everywhere, so the fact that it works with Ob is like
just
great.
a cherry on top.
See much play out of Ob, sadly, but like it's still pretty good.
Let me tell you this: that ability at the top is just an ability on a permanent you have, which means you can use it whenever you could use it. You could use an ability. So they can pass this, they can use money to break this, they can then break the next dice and the next dice and the next dice, and then at the very end, when they have spent so much money to get in, you can pop this and end the run. And they have to do it all over again, and they lost a click.
Oh, it's designed by a world champion.
Yeah. This is like
that's also a bit of a sign.
Yeah.
That's always scary. That's always like guy who won a tournament had this as their dream card. Like, I've seen a lot of games do that. It's like, should we be helping these people more? It seems like they're already doing fine.
I'm pretty sure, like, thinking about the mix of World Championship cards like that in Netrunner, I'm pretty sure every single one of them is either, like, I've literally never seen it because it's not very good at all, or completely busted and usually banned. Border Control is one of the few that's really good and not banned. So, I guess good job designing it.
Yeah, no.
And speaking of being the runner, we have a few runner identities. These are from the criminal faction. These are the people who run because they want money, and they want that money to be in their pockets and not the corporation's pockets. And we've got a little bit of text here, and I'm really happy to go through it real quick. So on the left, we have Sable. She has a computer that looks like a violin. And more importantly, in play, she says, when your turn begins, you pick a random server, basically. A random central server, so like your opponent's hand or deck or discard pile. And the first time each turn you manage to get in, you get an extra click.
So you get a free action from that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And then we have Andromeda, ex-aristocrat over here. She has nothing that happens during play, but she just says, you draw a starting end of 9 cards.
One quick question. One of these ladies has a 0-4 and the other just has a 1.
So that's
the 4 is both of them. That's a formatting thing. They used to not show the memory that every runner gets 4 memory of programs.
Yeah.
This is true for everyone. They just started putting it on the cards in the modern era. The NSG did, so that people know they have 4 memory. Andromeda also has 4 memory. Everyone has 4 memory.
Gotcha.
The 0 and 1, it's a thing called Link. It matters for specific cards called Trace. There aren't that many of them. They mattered for a while, but don't worry about them too much.
Yeah, it's like Regeneration. They used to have it, and it was complicated enough that they decided, that we all like collectively decided, let's not do that anymore.
I still like Link a lot, but it definitely is like, when explaining the game to people, it's like, okay, here's all the other mechanics, and then you get to Trace, and you're like, okay, so let me explain this. So don't worry about that for now. Just evaluate it on the other stuff.
For our game, it doesn't really matter, yeah.
All right, before I get into anything else, a computer that is a violin seems like the kind of very cute thing that a company would try to announce, and then you use it, and it's like, this is shit. I cannot use this thing.
Sable is very good with it. Everybody else, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. That just seems too cute. Can I have buttons? All right. 9 is so many cards. I'm sort of fighting between my impulse that on this one side, you're getting just like free actions. Seems like, successful run. Wait, does that mean you got to get to the end?
You got to get to
the end. Yeah.
Okay, less than free. Okay.
It basically gives you the action back, so you get a free run. You made a run, but it doesn't cost you an action to do that run if you're successful.
Okay, all right. But my dumb brain is just like, man, 6 is way more than 5.
That's 9.
9 is way more than 5, I should say. My instinct is just like, as much as I love getting more like actions, just that's so much card advantage. That looks like a lot of card advantage. I am going to go with Andromeda. I might be wrong.
That's pretty smart because Sable is really good. Like Sable is a really solid runner in the NSG era. Like I've made Sable decks. I really like Sable. But Andromeda is one of the best runners ever printed. Just like but Andromeda is here because she's my favorite runner ever, and I love her, and she's so good.
She's a lot of so busted. She's so busted.
One of the main ones is that in Netrunner, you don't have to like build up a land base or something.
Yeah.
Just immediately start the game with 5 credits. So you can, with Andromeda, play a card that gives you credits, play a card that gives you credits, play a card that you really need for the game, play a card that you really need for the game. And you have like a whole rig already set up way earlier than anyone else would.
Also,
additionally, you mulligan your entire hand in Netrunner, and you only mulligan once, and she mulligans 9 cards.
Whoa, wait, I didn't even think about that. So it's not even drawing. I was thinking it in terms of you're drawing 5 extra cards, but if you have a mulligan system, that seems insane.
You get to mulligan only once, but she does mulligan to 9.
Yep. Mulls to 9. Yeah, that I feel like a lot of card games that I've looked at like had an early card that was like, hey, I don't know, let's just let you draw 2 cards for nothing. I don't know, whatever. A lot of people seem to run into that.
What a foreshadowing.
There's also one of my favorite things in Netrunner, which is the next one. There's a specific card you can put in an Andromeda deck, which is Rebirth, which, sure, Andromeda's effect only happens at the beginning, so just be someone else halfway through the game.
The only reason that these 2 cards are not played is that they've rotated.
Yeah.
That's the funniest thing. Having a card, having your hero or whatever be somebody who only does something at the beginning of the game and then swap it out.
One of my first decks I ever made was there's a runner named Kit who only has 10 influence, so she's hard to deck build for. So I made a deck that was just random shitty boy, and then you play Rebirth halfway through and you become a Kit deck. You become a girl with 15 influence, basically. It's great.
Deep improvement. Moving on. Still runners, still an old card versus a new card. In this case, we have Alice Merchant, Clanage Dater, and she says she's a cyborg. And she says, the first time you make a successful run on archives each turn, the corp must trash a card from their hand.
Okay, archives is deck, HQ is...
archives is the discard pile.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it should be noted that, like, for the record, the corp has to trash that card to their archives, and you will then access it. So if they decided to trash an agenda for some reason because they're dumb, I guess, you would then get to see it.
Mm-hmm. Or their whole hand is agendas. I don't know.
I think that's how it works. I sure hope so. Yep. Crucify me in the comments if I'm wrong.
And on the newer card side, we have Lou. We have Rene Arsamon. He's a party animal. He's a G-modded identity, and he says, the first time each turn you trash a card you are accessing, you gain a credit and draw a card.
Okay. Gaining a credit and drawing a card, I am But you need like a bunch of credits to do stuff.
Yeah, and specifically for trashing, you need to pay. Generally speaking, there are ways around it, but generally speaking, you need to pay the trash cost of the card. So cards you can trash will have costing credits in their corner, and you have to pay some money to trash them.
Yeah. Okay. All right. In that case, making so many discards seems good. The real I might be overthinking this, but I was looking at like, oh, you got to have 10 more cards in your deck. That's going to be less. It's going to be less consistent. But yeah, I don't know. Making your opponent discard something seems like. Well, do you get anything for accessing archives though?
You get to touch every card in archives. And
okay, yeah, I'm going to go with Alice Merchant.
I might catch flack for this one, but I definitely think Lou's better by a long shot. And the reason is, while Alice's ability is solid, it's what you noticed. She needs 10 more cards in her deck.
Yeah.
If your deck's only 40 cards, it's way more consistent to run a smaller deck. Especially because, like, it could maybe work, but her ability doesn't draw you cards. So you have to fill your deck with a ton of card draw, and that takes a ton of space. People played Alice for a while. I don't think Alice is terrible, but I haven't seen anyone competitively play Alice in, like, a year at least. Well, I see Lou decks still to this day.
Yeah, remember that every card you put in this deck is a real card. There's no land. So these are 10 more cards that you have to figure out how to... It's such a big hit because it's not like a land that you are always sort of okay drawing, right?
Yeah. You're right. That sounds like a lot of chaff.
Yeah. It's annoying, but she is, like, playable. Right.
Yeah.
And just to round up our runner factions, we have Shaper. Shaper is the faction of the people who do it for the love of the game. And they have all the cool little instant speed effects and tutoring. And we have two examples here. This is a little bit of text on each side. I'm going to go through both of them. We have Ayla Rahim. She is a natural identity that says, before drawing your starting hand, you just exile the top 6 cards of your deck, you shuffle 2 back in, and then for the rest of the game, you can spend an action to put a card from those exiled in your hand.
You start with an extra 4-card hand, basically, that you can draw from at any time if you want.
That seems really good, but I am going to have to look at this other one first.
Yeah, this other one is Arisana. She has a cool frog shirt and an ability that says for 0. This is like when you use 0 as a cost in Magic. So it's an instant speed ability with no cost. It says, install a program from your grip, paying all costs. Use this ability only once per turn and only during a run. And when that run ends, trash that program if it's not a Trojan. And just to explain what a Trojan is, these are programs that you can install like sort of aura style onto a piece of ice. They just get attached to it.
Yeah. Okay. I have to think a lot about this second one to decide if it's good.
This is not an obvious one.
This first one seems really good, just no knowledge at all. The first one seems like, I'm going back to the person who had a starting hand size of 9. Just seems like it's really good to have more cards. And you still got to pay the cost for the program from your grip, so it's just doing it like at a different speed, but not cheaper. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Bios, Alaya Bios.
Oh, this is so tempting to say, isn't it? And unfortunately, I think that again we see so many fewer Isla decks to be competitive than Arisana, because playing a program at instant speed means that you can sort of, not only it's giving you an extra action because you're doing it without having to spend a click for it, which in this game is so huge. Clicks are just your biggest, your most valuable resource.
And there's a lot of weird tricks you can do with Arisana of like oh, well, I'm going to use this to I'm going to sell that program later for money to a different card, or I'm going to do a thing that activates whenever I install a program or stuff like that. Isla's good, but Isla mostly I see at this point gets used for combo decks where you need a few pieces. And occasionally if one of those is viable, I'll see a lot of Isla decks, but she's I don't think she's as good.
It's
I might
really
get
rare.
flack for this. I do not think she's as good.
Yeah, Arisana also very at the most basic level, you can keep cards in your hand and then just play the one correct solution at the right time.
Yeah, that's the other issue is Isla doesn't draw you the cards. You still have to spend an action to draw them.
Yeah.
So you have those special things, but unless they're combo pieces, you could just draw from your deck instead.
Yeah.
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 Moving on.
Yeah. I had not thought about the not using an action thing, and that it seems big.
It's one of the biggest differences between Magic and this game, because Netrunner, you will have to think about, I can only do 4 things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a change.
Yeah, there are nights where I wish you could only do 4 things on a turn.
We've all been in that Commander game.
It does help Netrunner avoid a lot of infinite combos, although there are 2 or 3 that I've seen.
Yeah.
Speaking of combos, our friends in HB are very, very renowned for being the kind of conniving combo decks that we all love to hate. And we have 2 Haas-Bioroid identities here. We have, on the left, we have Precision Design, and we found you get +1 maximum hand size again.
Yep. That's just one part of it, and it has 15 influence.
Yep. And it says, whenever you score an agenda, on top of that, you may add 1 card from archives to HQ. So you can regrow 1 card.
Yeah, discard to hand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the other is cerebral imaging. Imaging?
Yeah.
English is so hard. Your maximum hand size is equal to the number of credits in your credit pool.
Oh, the second one, all right, I might be way off base. The second one seems actively harmful. I can't go broke now. I can't use all my money because that's all I want to do is use all my money. Whereas, I don't know, putting a thing from discard in your hand seems good. Also, 40 is smaller than 45. I'm learning.
Oh.
So is that your final answer?
It is, and I'm about to be wrong, aren't I?
You're so
cerebral imaging is one of the most broken corpse in the entire game. The thing is, when the runner makes a run on your hand, they see one card from it randomly. And so if you go to the next one, cerebral imaging would run, among a bunch of other stuff, cards like this, and just stack up to get 30 money and 20 cards in hand. And then the runner is going to look at 1 card out of 20 and maybe find an agenda. And meanwhile, you have all of the options sitting in your hand. And you're running a bunch of random cards to shut everything down the runner does. It's one of the most broken things ever, but it is one of I specifically chose it because it's it looks weird. You look at it and you're like, this doesn't seem good, but it is busted as hell. Yeah.
Both Andromeda and Cerebral Imaging have won world championships.
Nice.
Yeah.
And
then lastly,
Jinteki. Jinteki is the faction that's more. It is red, and it sort of feels red to play quite a bit. It's the one that has the burn, it has the one that does the damage, most likely. And we have got 2 here. One of them is Saraswati. It says, for a click and a credit, you can just install a card and then place 1 advancement token on it. So sort a little bit of acceleration.
Yeah.
You don't have to do these as separate things. And it says, you cannot score or res the card until your next turn begins. And then we have Personal Evolution. It says, whenever an agenda is scored or stolen, do 1 net damage.
Okay, so wait, scored or stolen? How do you steal an agenda if you're a corp? The Netrunner.
Oh no, that just means
the runner. If the runner steals it, they will take 1 net damage as well.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, part of me is just looking at the mnemonics. You have to pay stuff for that to happen. This other one just happens on its own. And I was thinking, how many agendas are you scoring in a game if you're just getting to 7 points?
Yeah.
Seems like not that many, but then if you're also doing that whenever your opponent scores a point, that seems like a more common occurrence. Install a card from HQ in a remote server. Do you have to also pay whatever cost you would normally do for that?
When you
free to install a remote server.
Yeah, when you install a card as the corp, you install it face down, and then you don't have to pay for it until you want to use it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it sounds like, because you would already use an action for that, so it sounds like you're paying 1 money to put an advancement token on it. And I guess just the black hole of my knowledge here is how hard it is to put advancement tokens on.
Advancement tokens cost an action and a credit. So it is saying spend an action and a credit to do something that would normally take an action and then another action and a credit. However, you can't flip that card over and use it or score it if it's an agenda until your next turn.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I might go with mnemonics instead.
How come?
Well, you're getting out of an action. You have to do this. I don't know how serious the dealing damage is, but apparently there's decks that have 40 cards in their hand. I guess those are other corps, though.
Other corps, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
There are also some agendas that say when this is scored or stolen, deal net damage or stuff like that.
Gotcha. Okay, I think getting the free action, I feel like not scoring or rezzing that card until the next turn feels doable, right? You got other ones going. You got oars in the fire. I think maybe mnemonics. Am I right?
So you're on the right track in the sense of...
It's not doable.
It's not doable because you're on the right track thinking that actions are very, very important. That is absolutely true. The problem, though, is that if you spend 2 clicks to do this thing and then you cannot do anything with it, it just sits there like a sitting duck.
Yeah. The runner will always check it on their turn or ignore it, and it's just so slow because you're stuck doing nothing.
Yeah.
If it didn't have the last line of text, it would be one of the great agendas of all time, maybe. No, actually it would. It would be broken. It would be too powerful. It needs something limiting it, but it's way too limited. Meanwhile, PE is PE ranges from really fucking good to extremely broken to it's fine, but it is always a bunch of players' bogeymans. They hate that card.
It means that every time you run, you have to count that you can die.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you die with no cards.
Mm-hmm. You can just lose the game right there. If you take an agenda that deals you damage and you don't have enough cards in it for that plus this damage, you are dead. Dead.
Yeah. Very good. I feel like I would play that if I was in the game.
So
that's all our factions. Shout out to anyone watching who realized that I forgot to randomize them, and the second one was the right one every time. I realized that while watching them.
I feel so bad for not noticing that.
I didn't realize it until now. I got 5 in and was like, oh no, will anyone realize? And thankfully, neither of you did.
Yeah.
Well, I thought surely, I remember back in, school, I used to try and metagame it with true or false questions of they wouldn't make it false 4 times in a row. I was always wrong when I tried that. so I just stopped paying attention.
Yeah, that was my hope. Thank God.
And moving on, we have a few cards that are like interesting or staples, or in this case, sort of the bread and butter of this deck. We have an operation, which is a card that the corpse can use. It's basically sort of a sorcery, right?
Yeah. So
and this
these are just random cards. Just say like, do you think they're good, bad, banned, way too powerful, never been played, whatever you think. Yeah.
5. So you got to spend 5 money to get 9 money. That seems like a reasonable exchange. It seems like you use 1 money to do a lot of things. Looking at those other cards, and some of those cards were even bad. So 5 seems like a lot. So you are getting 9, but this seems like a.
Remember that you start with 5 money.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well then this seems good. I don't know if this seems broken to me, but it seems like I would probably put this in a deck that needed money.
This is the closest this game has to land. This is the most bread and butter card, and it is. Yeah. There are decks that don't play this, but they are very rare.
Yeah.
Basically, every corp plays this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And now I want to show you another card that's completely different. This one is on the runner side, and it says for 5 credits you gain 9.
It would be hilarious if this was wildly different in terms of how much it was played. If you're about to tell me that, like, no, this is garbage.
No, I'm gonna give it for you for free. This is the same amount of played for sure. But what do you think is the best card between these two?
Oh, they're both events, right?
Yep.
They're both. I don't know.
They are played like they're sorcerers essentially. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Corps seem better at making money, so maybe the corps have just easier ways to get there. Plus, you're spending money to attack them servers all the time. I'm gonna say maybe the runner one's better.
I don't know. I think they're both great.
They're both great. There is a good argument to say that they have like very similar power, but the corp card can be played on turn 1 because the corp always goes first. So they will always get the money first. So maybe there's a little bit of an edge.
Such a minor thing. I think they're. Yeah. I would argue that maybe the runners is better because the runner is doing certain stuff. We could debate this forever.
Absolutely.
This isn't a settled thing. This is just whatever you think. All right.
I really hoping you were going to tell me that like it was either much worse, and I'd be like, "Damn, this game is more complicated than I thought."
No. You got
99% of decks ever made. If you aren't including these, I would compare it to something like not putting lands in your Magic deck. Sometimes you do that, and if you do that, you know why. You have a very good reason why. Yeah.
Yes. Nice.
Let's talk about this one.
Is this an energy drink?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to show you. Do you see the text here?
Yeah. So this is Ancestral Recall.
This is Ancestral Recall, but it's free. It's a 0.
Okay, it's an action, but it's still seems busto. Seems although I don't know if there's one thing going against it, it's that that's a really late copyright date on that for something like that.
Oh, this is a reprint.
This is a reprint that
if you were going to make this card as a mistake, that seems like a year 1 thing.
Oh no, this was in the game when it started.
Yeah, okay. Seems busted.
All right. Click on the next one. What about this one?
This is
on the corp side.
Wait, Operation. Okay.
Yeah.
Operations events, they're the equivalent of like a sorcery. They take an action to play, so it's a full action, but it just happens instantly.
Yeah. And events are for the runner.
No dealing with any of that.
Yeah.
Events are for the runner, and operations are for the corpse.
Cool. I am still like looking for one of these is going to be wildly different between the two of them. Gun to my head, I would say I don't know. The corpse is having to draw a card every turn, and they have fewer actions, so probably better on the other side. Probably better on the runner. But these both seem busted. These both seem.
Hey Daniel. Hey Daniel.
Yeah.
Would you believe that the card on the right is absolute dog shit, and the card on the left is just okay?
What? What? How? Is this draw 8? What is?
Yeah.
So on the corp card, so like we could say anonymous tip has been played. It's not complete dog shit. It has been played, but it's not like they didn't reprint it for a reason. It is not necessary. The thing is, if you're a corp, like you said, you only have 3 actions, and you always start by drawing a card. And at the end of your turn, you have to discard. It is so easy to play, draw 3 cards, and then just not be able to do anything with those. The corp has to control their draws pretty carefully, actually. And they do often want to draw a lot of cards, but they want to do that like considered in ways that they can like plan out. And anonymous tip is just draws you a lot of it doesn't have that much value. You're already drawing cards, so you don't need it as bad, and it doesn't give you that control.
Plus, on top of that,
just like Diesel's good, but this is a game where you can click the draw card.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now that I think about it, the action system would make just a bulk drawing cards probably less. And you did show me a bunch of cards that are like draw 50 back when we were doing the so maybe I should have seen this coming.
One thing that is very important.
It's not bad though. It gets played a lot, but it's definitely not like the great card that Ancestral Recall is. It's like pretty good.
It's pretty good. Anonymous tip gets way worse when you realize that drawing a card in Netrunner for a corp means that an agenda can end up in your hand.
Oh, and if you have a max hand size, you gotta put stuff in. People can make a run on your bullshit.
Yeah.
I do love that it's an energy drink. That's pretty cool. Like
it is great.
It is pretty great.
Yeah.
I love the gremlin energy that I get from the runners.
Yeah, it's so good.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh. And staying on the corp side though, we have Biotic Labor. For 4 credits and a click, because it's an action to play a card. You gain 2 clicks.
Like a ritual thing, I guess. You get a click starved and money rich as a corp. Or actions starved. It was clicks, right?
Yeah.
This seems really good. This seems. I'd play it if I was trying to incompetently cobble together a deck.
What do you think is the most useful use for these 2 clicks?
Install and start a thing.
Not quite close, but not quite. Every time I've seen this card played, it's being played to score an agenda. Because most agendas require at least 3 advancements, so 3 actions to get scored. So most of them you can only install, and then you don't have enough actions to score them, right?
Yeah.
You even if you put money on them, it's not really useful because then you have to pass the turn, and the runner can come in and steal them. With one of these, you can score. You can then have 4 clicks. The first one you install, then you can advance. And at that point, you can score the card immediately. Right.
Oh.
So you don't have to put it down to begin with
at all. The runner doesn't get to show up and go, no, you can't do that. They just have to basically deal with it.
It can stay safer in your hand for longer instead of having to be down and wait. So this is one of the cards that's sort of like, you look at this and you're like, 2 clicks, and then it sort of opens you to the game to understand just how powerful it can be in this context. Yeah. Moving on. We have another card designed by somebody who won a tournament. It's called Mutually Assured Destruction. This is a corp card. And it's a triple. A triple, say, at the additional cost to play this operation, you spend 2 more clicks. So this costs you 3 clicks to play in total.
Yeah.
So this is your whole turn.
Yeah. So whole turn. Okay. And what are rest cards again? Those are the things you have out.
The ones you have turned face up that you have paid
the
for.
The best way to look at Netrunner a lot of the time is that like almost pretend that every card the corp plays has morph.
Yeah.
All of them are face down, and you only use them when you activate them and turn them over.
Yeah.
So they play all their cards for free, but then they have to pay to flip them over and do stuff with them. Res just means they have been flipped.
Okay. And tags. That was...
If the runner's tagged, then the corp can trash one of their resources for 1 action and 1 click and 2 credits. The runner can also get rid of the tag for 2 credits and 1 click, 1 tag at a time. However, there's also a lot of cards that interact with tags. If you need a hint, we can show you one.
Okay, well, my instinct here, if you cover up 1 line of text on this, I'm like, this seems like too much of an investment. But the line of text that's concerning me is designed by 2020 champion Eric Kellback, which I'm thinking, okay, that person seems like they probably know more than me.
Jeez.
That's really early. That's 2020. That was a while back. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm gonna defer to Eric and say he probably knows this shit.
So do you think this card is like pretty good? Do you think it's like broken? Do you think it's like banned? What do you think?
I think this. It seems to me like something that like has its place. Your whole turn is a lot, and you're getting rid of stuff that you've already paid to turn up. So honestly, again, in my mind, this looks fully bad, but I just assume that it's good.
Let me show you one more card.
Yes. Remove 1. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you think now?
Tagging somebody a whole lot seems good then. Yeah, that seems like you could just kill him next turn.
Yeah. This is not a card you see a lot of, but only because you need to build your deck around it.
Yeah, but it's not like a all-timer, but it is definitely a combo piece in certain combo decks, and they do exactly that with it. They make decks where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to use this as one part of my big combo that completely kills the runner in 1 turn.
That combo
common for a little bit. I don't think they're super common right now, but like it's always there as a possibility.
Yeah, you don't need to do operations and stuff if you can just kill that guy.
Absolutely.
I will also say, art on End of the Line, this actually happened to me during the Aurora Borealis.
I'm so sorry.
I could see shit. Looked outside, completely gray.
Jeez. Oh, no. San Francisco for you.
Yeah, that's...
The Bay Area.
Yes.
Moving on. We have an agenda here, and it's called Project Build, and it says... when you score this agenda, for each 2 hosted advancement counters, so for each 2 advancement counters you put on top of its cost, you get 1 agenda counter into when you score it, and this is worth 1 more for each counter you put this way.
Basically, so this is it costs 3 advancement counters to score this, and it's worth 2 points. But if you could put 5 counters on it, it'd be worth 3 points. And if you could put 7 counters on it, it'd be worth 4 points. And so on and so on.
Yeah, but you gotta spend a whole ass action putting those advancement counters on. Yeah. And it seems really risky to not flip this over knowing that the runner can blow this shit up to run up the score like that. I'm gonna say what?
How much do you think this is played?
I bet there are decks that like are really good at defense and can just say, I'm gonna turtle and put all my chips on this one. And I guess once you get past 3, every one of your actions is getting you a full agenda point. I would say this is like a card that is very good in decks with good defense, but it seems really risky to just keep putting your eggs in this basket if your opponent. And if your opponent gets this, does that mean they also get extra?
No, it's just 2 for them.
Oh, okay. It seems like good, but not for every deck, I would guess.
Hey, June. Hey.
So,
how many decks play this?
This was a trap. This is played in every NBN deck ever, basically. And the reason for it has absolutely nothing to do with the card. If this was a blank card, it would be the exact same thing. It's just because it's 3/2.
Oh, yeah.
Two points for 3 advanced encounters is really good.
You don't even do any of this fucking text.
Yes!
There have been a few decks that will, like, sometimes someone will make use of it. There's a couple of cards that do it. Like, whenever you do it, it sure feels great. But, like, no one's playing this to use its special ability. They're playing it because 2 points for 3 advanced encounters. That's a great ratio.
Yeah. It's so above rate that most agendas that cost 3 only give you a point.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Only 1 point, yeah.
It's hilarious.
Moving on.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another one. This is another agenda. This one costs 4. So it will take you at least 2 turns to score this, and it gives you 2 points. So this is at rate. The agenda we saw was above rate, this is at rate. And it says, when you score this agenda, you give the runner 1 tag, and then you play a side game, which is, we're not going to go super deep into it. It's basically sort of like trying to guess a number that between 0 and 2, and if it matches, something happens. If it doesn't match, something else happens. And the thing that happens if you guess correctly, you do 1 core damage. And if you guess incorrectly, you do 1 core damage. And if you guess correctly, you do 1 net damage. So your runner has to match exactly what the number you're thinking for to get the less bad damage. If they don't, they get the worse one.
Okay,
this is a really complicated card that I partially included just because I think Psy games are really fun. I want to see what you think of them.
But over in Magic, we have Goblin Game.
Yeah,
I mean, it is not as bad as Goblin Game. This is inarguable.
No, I run that shit in every one. Like stuff that's play a stupid mini game. I love that shit. In the games I play. Mm-hmm. I am always Wheel of Misfortuning people. Looking at this, it seems like no matter what, you're taking the discard damage.
You're taking the discard damage no matter what. And one of them, you're taking a tag and then the discard. But like, if you don't, if the runner doesn't win that game, they will also have 1 less hand size for the rest of the game. So their maximum HP is reduced for the rest of the game. That's good.
It is when the corp scores it, though. So they do have to score it.
You have to score it, but it seems like, I don't know, you want to score shit anyway. And this is a lot of... You're giving them a tag. You can kill them with that. You're dealing damage to them. You get to play a game. You know, because you're actually they're actually spending money. So there's going to be this entire thing if they're thinking like, okay, well they want me to spend as much money as possible. So then are they going to? But do they know that I'm going to bid 2 because of that? Do I have to? This isn't even an argument for why it's good, just why I would like playing it.
yeah.
I'm loading this up. This is a red card. I'm loading this up with the deal 1 damage. Oh, fuck, that exists too. So you could be also dealing another damage when you. This seems really good, or at least just very my shit.
It is absolutely your shit, but it is not as good as you think, unfortunately.
It is. I included this card, and I forgot that it's actually a piece in a really silly combo deck, which I think you specifically caught onto. Because what can happen is if you do all of that, and you're playing the deck that makes you discard a card, you can score this, make them deal 1 damage through net or core, deal 1 damage through your on-score ability, and then play end of the line like we saw earlier, and that's 4 damage, and that's 6, so that's a kill. The problem with this combo deck is that it requires you score a 4-2, and no one likes scoring 4-2s. Once again, this comes down to the stats on it, the 4-2. Just most people won't play that. But I included this as a 4-2s are bad. But I did. Ara reminded me about that combo deck that I had completely forgotten about it, and you noticed it even though I didn't. So well done.
I'm just like, this is exactly what I would play. I'm looking. I don't care if it's not tier right now.
The funniest bit about this is that this combo works no matter what happens in the minigame. So not only you're doing it, it's just wasting time, because then if you have it, you have it.
Yes.
And we have a few more. This one is an alternate win condition. This is an asset that the corp can have on their side. It's called Super Deep Borehole, and it says, when you res this asset, so when you turn it face up, you put 6 bad publicity counters onto it. When it is empty, you win the game. And then it says, when your turn begins, you take 1 bad publicity from this asset. And bad publicity is a mechanic in this game. It's sort of like the corp version of tags, in a way. And it means that when the corp has bad publicity, every time the runner starts a run, they will get that many credits to use only during that run. And then they will go away after the run.
So if you had 2 bad publicity, the runner would have 2 credits to spend during the run on icebreakers or on trash costs or on anything.
Yeah.
That they just have for every run they make, they'll have those 2 extra credits.
Okay, because the first thing that jumped out to me, no, that's a lie. The first thing that jumped out to me is that its name is Super Deep Butthole. But the second thing that jumped out to me is 6 to destroy this seems like a lot.
Quite a bit of money, yeah.
However, it does get cheaper each turn, because each turn you get 1 more free credit to use, essentially.
This seems like it would be very fun, but extremely impractical. This feels like, because you're paying 6 to flip this over, and then it takes 6 turns to win this way, and also your opponent is getting extra resources. This seems, this is my first prediction of this seems actually bad.
Yeah.
Congratulations! This card is unplayable.
Yeah.
I love it. I adore it. I'm so happy it exists. It's unplayable.
It says you win the game, and you want to believe with all your heart that somehow you can make it work, but giving people 6 credits for each run is just so much money.
By the time you get towards the end, this is almost paying for itself killing you.
Yes. And if they trash it, your bad publicity does not go away.
Yeah, and then you gotta, complete agendas like an idiot.
Yeah.
Or do it again, but this time you get even more bad publicity. It's bad. It's bad.
It's so bad.
It's really fun, though. I love it.
Yeah.
And moving on. We have Snare! Exclamation mark. It's an asset, but this is an ambush, meaning that something happens to the runner when they res it.
Okay.
And he says, while the runner is accessing this asset in R&D, they must reveal it. So when they, normally when you run into the deck of your opponent, you get to see the card, but they don't. And in this case, you will have to show it when you hit it. And he says, when the runner accesses this asset anywhere except in archives, so in the discard pile, you may pay 4. If you do, give the runner 1 tag and do 3 net damage.
Oh, I'm coming back to this is exactly what I would play. I would jam it in my terrible deck with that 4-2 and the deal damage to somebody. I would run this. But this seems like it's actually good in that, because a tag and 3 damage.
In general, how do you think it is? How good do you think this is in general?
Oh, this might just be my biases, but this seems very good.
Mm-hmm.
Am I wrong?
No, you're right. This is a staple.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really solid. It's not like busted, because the thing is the runner has to access it.
Yeah.
So this is technically kind of a dead card in your deck.
Yeah.
This doesn't gain you money. This doesn't do anything. All the best traps in Netrunner do something else if you can't use it as a trap.
Yeah.
They give you something else. While Snare, they have to run into it, and if they don't run into it, it's basically pointless.
But unfortunately,
However, like,
when they will run through that,
yeah.
if you put a single snare in your deck, they will have to respect it for the entire game.
My absolute favorite thing to do in any Netrunner deck building is just put one snare in the deck, because then they're running R&D and they're like, I'm playing against Wayland. This is going great. I'm seeing all their agendas go, and then they hit a snare and you're just like, I didn't see that coming. So much fun.
Love an exclamation mark in the name.
This is actually sort of a pattern. In the cards with an exclamation mark are all ambushes that fuck you over, basically.
Oh, hell yeah.
Snare is just the most famous of them. And for the next one, we have a kind of a different card. It's called Spin Doctor. It's an asset, so on the corp side, in a server, it says, when you res this asset, when you turn it face up, and it costs 0 to turn it face up, you draw 2 cards. And then you can remove this asset from the game to shuffle up to 2 cards from your discard pile into your deck.
Okay, so this is... I mentioned that I've played like 5 games of Netrunner, all against Isaac at my local store. Isaac fucking played this card all the time, so I have seen this one.
This is a staple. Many decks...
So if you played 5 years ago, Isaac probably didn't play this card. Isaac probably actually played, if you click next, this card.
Oh, yeah.
Jackson Howard is the... Spin Doctor's a near print of Jackson Howard, and they are both 2 of the best cards ever printed in Netrunner.
Yeah. Most deck building on the corp side starts with putting 3 Spin Doctor and 3 of another card, which is Rashida, into the deck. And you used to be Jackson Howards. No matter the faction.
Yeah.
And this asset from the game, is that instant speed? You can do that?
Yes.
That's the secret to it.
So you can protect archives.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
To protect archives, you don't have to have ice. You don't have to worry about what's in there. You just have to have a Spin Doctor. Well, it used to be Jackson, nowadays Spin Doctor, on the board, sitting there, waiting, and then eventually, when they run archives, you go, okay, before you get in, I remove Spin Doctor from the game. I shuffle the cards that you wanted from archives back to the deck, and you could see all the trash that I don't care about.
Most importantly, these resing is just like Morph. It's an instant speed as well.
Yeah.
Oh.
So you can have that on the board like hidden, and your opponent will have to like sort of try and make the read whether running archives is even worthwhile or not.
Yeah.
And if they run this, you can when they get to it, maybe it's protected by ice, maybe it's like you put a bunch of stuff in front of it and they have to get through it. And when they get to it, you just res it, you draw, and then you pop it, you remove it from the game, shuffle a bunch of stuff in your deck, and they got nothing.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, that seems good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. And now we have we have an upgrade. Upgrades are interesting because they can go into a server with the other cards, where other cards are installed. So you can have an asset in a server, you can have an agenda in a server, you can also put signal jamming into that server.
Okay. And what's this cost before the colon?
So this is the old version of the trash icon, yeah. It means you have to sacrifice these essentially.
Sacrifice this card.
Okay, cards cannot be installed until the end of the run. And installing cards is like one of the main things that you would do as the runner.
Yeah, although most installing cards cost an action, and you can't spend an action during the run. So this is...
Oh, okay. Oh.
But then you have stuff like Arisana, so...
Yeah, oh, yeah. Okay. This seems niche. This seems like there are some specific decks that this would, get. But I don't know. I don't know about this one. I think, I think I'm going to go with, I know sideboards don't exist in this game.
Yeah, that is correct.
I included this card because I've never seen it played. I think there was a short time when it got played to fight against one specific deck, maybe. And maybe it was played back in the era I didn't play. I have never seen this played. Yeah.
Nice.
One consideration can always be, you're right, there is no sideboarding in this game, so if you need tech, it needs to be main deck.
Yeah, it needs to be something that works in multiple ways, and this does one thing.
Does really one thing.
Yeah.
Moving on, we have some ice. This is Wall of Thorns. You can put it down, and then it costs you 8 to res. And it has 2 subroutines, so it has one that says do 2 net damage, and then the other one says end the run. And it has 5 strength, so you need to pay with your icebreaker to get to 5 strength before you can hope to break this 2. And it's a barrier.
Yeah, this seems like so much cost. This seems like a massive because this is the runners, right?
No, this is the corpse.
This is the corpse. Sorry, this is how you protect it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So when the runner runs into it, it's a barrier. They need a barrier breaker. It's 5 strength, so they're going to need an icebreaker that can hit 5 strength, and they're going to need to break 2 subroutines, do 2 net damage, and end the run. And if they don't break it, they're going to get hit with the damage, and the run's going to be over. And it costs the corp 8 credits to res this when they flip it over. They have to pay 8.
Okay. Yeah, that seems worth it. That seems... Yeah, I'm going to say that seems pretty brutal if you can get this up. And, I don't know, Corp's got money. I've been seeing a lot of money running around.
But can you hold on to 8 money for the entire game? That's the thing.
This is not good. The amount of money you put into this 8 is just not worth having a single barrier that eventually they'll be able to break no problem. Because eventually in a game of Netrunner, you kind of assume the runner's going to have a rig that's so powerful it can just run over anything.
Yeah.
And at that point, they run into this and it's like, okay, there's 2 subroutines. I pay 2, I guess, and I move on.
Yeah.
Or like the Arasana card, Slap Vandal, you put 2 of those on here, and who cares that it's 5 strength? It's just nice with 2 subroutines, stuff like that.
Yeah.
This one's not good. It's also one of the only cards that isn't currently playable in Standard. I tried to limit myself to Standard cards for most of this, except for the identities thing, but I included this one for a specific reason, because it was the same thing that happened in the video that was the reason we wanted to get this out, because the streamer Ty Tuesday did a version of this, and he included this card and the next card. Well, the person he was with did, and it's very fun. So you can now see the next
Let's
card.
talk about another piece of ice that costs 8 and is 5 strength. It's called Tollbooth. And this one has only one subroutine, it says, and the run. And it has an ability that says, when the runner encounters this ice, they must pay 3 credits if able. If they do not, end the run.
Okay, so... And getting through one of these subroutines would generally cost you, what, money?
Just
getting through a subroutine, you have to break a subroutine. The things with the arrows are subroutines, and those you have to pay an amount of money to break.
Yep.
Okay.
Usually about a credit, and then most of the credits goes into matching the strength of the ice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, just at a very basic level, it seems like I am paying more money than my opponent is to use this. I
will say this stays up, so you only have to pay 8 once for both of these ice.
Okay.
And the runner's going to have to pay to break the subroutines and for the 3 credits and stuff every time they go through.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, then that's going to add up. That seems a lot better than the previous one. I thought the previous one was going to be fine, and I was wrong, but this seems better. This has to be it, right?
Can you tell exactly why this is better?
Well, the first time, they're not going to know that they need the $3. The $4, I guess, because you got to keep going. Also, it's a different color. I don't know if that helps. I don't know if being different...
That's less relevant. Yeah.
This is better, but the reason... This is like a staple that still sees play. But the reason for that is because the first part's an ability. You can't break that. You always have to deal with that, no matter what.
Yep. Only subroutines with an icon can be broken.
Yeah, that's just a thing that's stuck there.
Oh, yeah.
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 This is lots of play. This is like, I would say this is like one of the bread and butter cards you can encounter in a yellow deck for sure.
Yeah.
I think that's the last card. Yeah, now we have the runner cards.
Nice.
This one
Last
I included for a specific reason.
So this is called Spark of Inspiration, and let me see if it's familiar. It says, set aside cards from the top of your stack face up until you set aside the program. You may install the program paying 10 credits less. Shuffle the set aside cards into your stack.
Cascade?
That's basically Cascade, yes.
It's Cascade, except it cares about types.
Yeah, okay.
It's not just any card.
Set aside a program. Okay. This, again, hard to say if it's good, but it's exactly the shit I would play. It's exactly the shit I would do. I guess this would be most useful if your deck's just like full of very expensive programs. I don't know how many other enablers there are for that, though. Might be you're really hoping to draw the Spark of Inspiration. I'm going to give this a rating of seems fun. I don't know if it's good. Maybe not.
The cool thing is most Netrunner decks are small enough that there is a decent chance, even with just 3 of those in the deck, to just draw this. And so this is actually in a bunch of decks right now that are really, really competitive. They play just 1 or 2 copies of very expensive
if you
breakers.
click next, I compared this to, if you hit next, Oath of Druids, which is a famous Magic card. Because if you build your deck for this, you're just building it with like 3 programs, and that's it. You just want to hit one thing. It's not great. Like, it's good. It's solid. There's some very competitive decks with it, but it's not like the top tier, just because programs are really good, and it's much harder to build like a single card combo deck in Netrunner than it is in like Magic the Gathering, like you would do with Oath. But it is still really fun. It's definitely the sort of thing you can play. You can make a real deck with Spark.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on. This is actually kind of interesting. It's called Pinhole Threading. And it says it's an event that starts a run. It says run any server. If successful, instead of breaching the attacked server, access 1 card in the root of another server. If that card is an agenda, you cannot steal or trash it during this access.
Okay. My instinct would say that there's probably going to be a server, like, I don't know, discard. Discard's a server.
Yeah.
Right?
It takes actions to put ice down on a server, and then you have to have the money for it. So yeah, you can usually count on 1 server being open.
Probably just run discard this way, but all you're getting is looking at it. You can't destroy it.
Yeah.
So
if it's an agenda, if it's an asset, you could still trash it if you wanted.
Oh yeah, it seems great.
So
yeah, you're right. Yeah,
I asked June to include this card because this card is very, very similar to Thoughtseize in the sense that if you the game in a format that has this card plays really differently than the game in a format where you don't have this card. When you have the ability to just sneak in and just hit the 1 asset, assuming you make the right read and assuming you have the money and assuming you know how much it's going to be. But if you can make the right read and say, oh, this asset that if it stays behind ice like 3 turns, it can kill me, I can just go and snipe it once. Like, decks that do that are just immediately way less viable in the ecosystem, because like they have to do their thing at least twice, right?
Yeah,
this is the sort of silver bullet card that actually sees a lot of play.
Yeah,
it's not every deck's going to include it. I don't think people are including it right now at all, honestly, a lot of the time. But that's not because it's bad. That's just because it exists to say, well, if this gets too powerful, people put pinhole threading in their deck, and then they can deal with that sort of deck because they have pinhole threading.
Yeah, if people are running like a win condition that isn't an agenda, like the terrible butthole card with the this kills that right away.
This destroys that deck.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the subject of like Thoughtseize, look at other people's shit type effects. My biggest problem in Magic the Gathering with my opponents doing those cards at me is I have to admit what hand I decided to keep instead of mulliganing. That's the worst part. I'm like, all right, here's my hand. Only God can judge me.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. This one doesn't quite get there because then you also have to play that card, and at that point you have made so many bad choices that if that's a bad card, I will be more like entertained than like weirded out. But
yeah, do you have the 6 money to trash this butthole city card? I mean, boring 4-hole. I don't know.
And we have another criminal card. This one is a resource. Resources are like enchantments. They just stay on the battlefield.
Yeah.
And this one says you put 18 credits on it, and when there are none, you trash it. And then for 2 clicks, you can take 6 credit from rogue trading and take a tag.
Listen, I've been very reserved of like, well, I don't want to say this looks like it sucks because there's a lot about the game I don't understand. This looks like it sucks. This looks terrible. Because it's 2 actions.
It does make you 6 money.
It's 3 actions, because you use an action to put this out, and then you gotta use 2 actions to get 6 money and a tag?
You do have to figure out a way to clear the tag for sure, yes.
This seems... And if I'm clearing the tag, that's another action! That's 4 actions! This is my whole turn for like $6? That's probably $4 after I get rid of the tag. Yeah, If this is good, I will be shocked.
So, you're mostly right. This is really bad, honestly.
Except
there are specific types of, like, almost, I guess, like a tribal deck that is trying to get tags. Like a weird, like, self-mill deck or self-damage or, like, self-discard deck or something where you want the thing that's bad.
Yeah.
And this card is core to those decks. But aside from that, it doesn't see much play. It's incredible in those because that's 18 credits really easily, and you get tags for free, which you want. But it doesn't get a ton of play in other places unless there's a really easy way to remove tags.
Gotcha.
And to end it up, we have a few interesting program cards. One of is Shibboleth.
Hardware.
And hardware, yes. This is a icebreaker. So this is a program that breaks ice. It is a decoder, and this costs 1 credit, so pretty cheap. It has 3 strength, pretty high, and it says as far as breaking goes, you can spend 2 to boost its strength, and then it will break code gate subroutines for 1/1. So you pay a credit and it will break a subroutine.
Okay.
However, it has an ability that says threat 4, this program gets 2 strength. And threat means this happens if a player has scored 4 or more points. Any player.
Oh, even you?
Even you.
Oh, okay. Because this was looking like a just all-in, like, hell yeah, I'm, gonna try and run this shit, take control as fast as I can. But if this also gets hit when I'm winning, I don't know. Is that 2 strength, is that till the end of turn, or is that forever?
That's forever.
+2.
It's just a static ability, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay, I think you could probably... that doesn't even cost an action. Okay, wait, I'm coming around.
If you're running... Basically, every icebreaker has a thing of... It has a base strength, and then it has... During the run, you'll pay a certain amount to increase its strength.
Oh, okay.
And a certain amount to do this. So if you go back, if you go all the way back, can you go all the way back to Toll Booth? So Toll Booth, this one is 5, and it's a code gate, and it has 1 subroutine. So if we go back...
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
This is 3, so you'd have to pay 2 to increase the strength to 5, and then you'd have to pay 1 to break the subroutine on Toll Booth. You'd also have to pay the 3 for Toll Booth, but we'll ignore that for now. So this would cost 3 to get through a Toll Booth.
Okay, well
it's only 1 to install. Then later in the game, this costs 5 because now its strength is permanently 1, and you're going to have to increase it again.
Okay, yeah, that doesn't seem as good. I don't know what the standard going rate for icebreakers is, but I feel like they would have to be better than this to be good.
Yeah.
Is my assumption.
A person who plays this game a lot would immediately sort of clock this card as being perhaps not as good, just because it's a criminal icebreaker. An icebreaker gets the most dogshit breakers. Sorry, criminal gets the most dogshit breakers in the game. Bar none.
Criminal has had some good breakers in the past. Maybe now they get
not as standard anymore. No, but
and they had Buke Alter. That's banned.
They had Buke Alter.
It's so good, but it was banned.
They have basically sort of situational ones, and Shibboleth is like, I will help you get into any server in the early game, and then just completely sputter off when possibly you need it most at the end of the game, where you need to just get into the last few places to get the last few points. Yeah.
I mean, compare this card to like draft chaff. It's not. You'll put it in a deck if you need to, because sometimes you just need something to break a code gate and you don't have other options. But like, you'd rather have something better.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The fact that it's bad if you're winning or if you're losing.
Yeah.
That's a lot. I do like, so is it a standard ability to have 1 money to break Code Geass subroutines? How much?
Yes. There's sometimes a card will be like there's a really good card that is there's a really good barrier breaker that is pay 1 to break 2 subroutines, and that's like incredible. But basically everything else is 1-to-1.
Okay.
This is on curve. This is on rate.
Okay, I was calling it Code Geass subroutines.
Indeed.
I noticed that. Well done.
All right, thank you.
2 for 2 strength is below curve also, because then if you just need 1 point of strength, you're still stuck paying 2.
Yeah.
It's just not very good.
It's just not very good.
It doesn't look good. I feel like icebreakers would have to be better than this.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's move to potentially better cards. So this is a console. This is a piece of hardware that stays on. It's also another kind of power. This is basically like an artifact.
Yeah.
If resources are enchantments, hardware is artifact essentially.
Yeah. You get 1 console in your deck. You could include multiple, but you can only ever have 1 type of console out.
Yeah.
And it's basically your computer.
Okay.
If you're thinking of like Netrunner as a hacking thing, everybody gets 1 computer, and this is one of them. This is the boat.
Am I meant to interpret that my computer is a whole ass boat?
In this case, it is.
This character's computer is her boat, which she has her lesbian polycule on.
That seems so much better than the violin computer, all right?
I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Cooled.
So this one, when you install it, first of all, it has an ability that gives you 2 extra memory for your programs.
Yep. Every computer gives at least 1 memory. Some of the expensive ones gives up to 2.
And you install it for 8 credits, and it says when you install it, you put 3 power counters on it. Each time you make a successful run, so you get to the end of it, past all the ice, you put another counter on it. And for 2 counters, you break up to 2 subroutines.
Oh, but $8 feels like a lot for that.
How good do you think this card is? Is it worth the $8?
Two more memory. I don't know if is that more than the normal amount of memory.
It's more than the normal. It's definitely, you paid a lot, so you're getting 2 memory.
Okay. And what this would do right away is let you break 2 subroutines. And then if that gets you to the end of the run, then you have enough to break 2 more.
You have 1 counter more, so you will need 2 runs or some other way to put counters on this.
You start with 3, so...
you start with 3. Yes, so you would have another one.
Yeah.
Also, just like as a PC gamer, I'm against consoles entirely.
The bias.
8 seems like a lot, but I don't know. If I think of this as like breaking 4 subroutines and giving me 2 memory, this seems usable. This seems like a...
So, this is kind of funny. This is kind of funny, actually, because it speaks to how Netrunner can be such a different game from Magic. Because, Daniel, this card is banned in Standard.
Yeah,
they had to ban this so fast.
Powerful. $8?
Well,
yeah.
So think about this. If we go back 1, this was costing you 3 credits to break a subroutine. If we were breaking 2, it'd be 4 credits on anything with 5 strength.
Yeah. And it has to be a code.
And later in the game, it would be 6 credits because of all that. And you have to do that every time. Meanwhile, for endurance, there's just 2 counters. So you save so much money with this, and people were just making decks where it's just like, okay, I play endurance, and I immediately start hitting you as hard as I can. I don't even need icebreakers. I'm just going to be so fast against you. This got basically every single faction was. You'll notice on the side there's the 5 dots. That means this cost 5 influence. So that's if you have 15 influence, putting the 3 limit in your deck, this would cost all your influence. People were doing that. This card was that good.
Oh yeah, I guess like what should have been the giveaway. $8 is actually pretty cheap for a whole boat.
This is true. Yeah.
Also, the best computer that you could fit on an entire goddamn ocean liner. It's probably a pretty good computer, and it's glowing. It's glowing all the way through it. This also happened to me during the Aurora Borealis.
Hey, I just saw some pretty lights in the sky. That's wild.
Yeah,
you had a wild experience.
You know that bitch is seeing that and then just like closing her drapes, getting back on the computer.
Just satisfied with their choices in life. Yeah, for sure.
I got stuff to do. I don't just instinctively. I don't want to be part of whatever faction is this Seasteader. I guess it's cool that she's in a polycule, but Seasteaders are just so like, oh man.
She's a little weird. She's a little weird for sure.
She's great. I love her.
She's great.
She's a bit of an eco-terrorist. Not as much of an eco-terrorist as the actual eco-terrorist, but she's cool.
Yeah, I mean, like, running a boat that size is eco-terrorism on the side.
Well, we're comparing it to
the eco.
We're comparing it to Ob, who are running a boat that is the size of a small country.
Yeah, and I guess that other corp was like drilling into the center of the earth.
Yes, with a super deep borehole, for sure,
too deep.
So we have 2 more cards before we finish, and these are sort of our piece de resistance, if you will.
Yeah.
The first one I'm going to show you is Conduit. And this is this is a program that costs 4 credits, so on the higher side of programs. And it says, whenever a successful run on the deck ends, you can put a virus counter on this program. And then it gives you an extra action you can do. Basically, anything that starts with a click, you can do at sorcery speed. It says...
it costs you an action.
Yeah.
Run R&D. If successful, access X additional cards. So you see X additional cards when you breach it, where X is the number of virus counters on it.
Yeah.
It should be noted also that the Corp can, on their turn, one special action they have is they can spend 3 actions to purge virus counters, which gets rid of every virus counter ever.
Okay.
However, it takes them 3 full actions to do so.
Yeah, that's a whole turn.
Yeah.
Okay, so if I understand this correctly, I am seeing an acceleratingly high amount of cards off of my opponent's deck, hoping that one of them is an agenda.
Yeah.
That's how I would play this game. I don't know if that means it was good. In fact, my instincts tell me that means it's bad. My instincts are telling me, like, oh man, if this is the gameplay that appeals to me, of just like look at more and more of their deck, hoping to randomly pull an agenda. I mean, how many, like, okay, 40 card deck, how many agendas are they probably running?
There is the rules of the game require you to put a certain number of points, so it can vary, but generally speaking, 1 in 5 is the ratio we're looking at.
Yeah. At minimum, you'll have like 6. At maximum, you might have like 10, I'd say.
Yeah. You can go really low if you're doing the bore into the center of the earth plan. My fear with this is that only being able to run R&D with this means that your opponent can probably just keep throwing stuff in front of R&D if they know that that's the only thing this is good for. I would say this is probably mid to bad, but fun.
This program is your over the top. This is how you win a game at the end. Okay. And there's a little bit of a cheat here because Shaper, the green faction, they are the faction. People may disagree with me in the comments for sure, but they are the faction of late game inevitability. So by the late game, they have a rig that's good enough for them to run things over and over and get wherever they want, essentially.
Yeah.
So
this is the same color as the boat.
It's the same color as the boat.
Yeah, you could put this in a boat deck and do really well. Or you could if it wasn't banned. But no, this is just like you play this card, and then first time you see 1 card. Let's say you trash that. Next time you see 2 cards, and then the third time you see 3 cards. You've seen 4 cards off of R&D at this point total. 4 out of 40, that's 1 in 10.
Yeah.
Like 1/10 of the cards. If someone is running a deck that is about like maybe 10 agendas at least, you have a good chance of just seeing an agenda right there, and that'll just win you the game.
Yeah.
And on your next turn, it still has all those virus counters, so they have to deal with it. And like they'll block up R&D, but that takes a lot of work, and you can still hit other servers if you want. This just gives you a way to say, no matter what, eventually I will win because I can see more cards than you. I get to see more cards whenever I hit it.
Oh wait, and if you can trash the top card of their library, in Magic terms, that's Jace the Mind Sculptor right there.
Yeah, basically.
That is also important. You get to see every card they're going to draw.
And every card with a trash cost, you can pay the trash cost off to either deny it to your opponent and also get to see more cards on your next go.
Yeah, because it'll be different cards if you trash them. Yep. Okay. All right, I'm getting an idea of the deck that I would play if I was playing this.
In Netrunner, generally one of the main things you want as a runner to win the game, the win condition for the runner. Not always. Sometimes your win condition is just being really good at everything or such, but usually your win condition is going to be some form of multi-access, seeing multiple cards.
Yeah.
And this is a really solid one. It's not, maybe, there are ones that are better, and a lot of those are banned, but like, this one is solid. Very solid.
And finally, our last card of the day is the Humble Coalescence. So this is a program, this is not an icebreaker, this isn't anything in particular. It costs 2, and it will take up 1 of your memory. Usually you have 4, and you can install your console to get more. But like between 4 and 6, usually 4 is what you have. And it says, when you install this, you put 2 power counters on it. And then at instant speed, you can take up a power counter to gain 2 credits only during your turn.
Okay. In absence of ways to like put more power counters on this, this seems like $2 to get $4 with a lot of extra steps. Which sounds not good. It's pretty, but unless there's something I'm missing, this seems not a good rate for money. I guess you can hide money this way. I don't know if you're worried about.
Daniel, I want to think of a certain card called Icor Wellspring.
This is maybe my favorite card in the new set because it's just a fucking egg. This is not a card you play because you get 4 money. This is a card you play because you're doing a bajillion dumb things with programs.
Yes.
And this is a program that just says, get some resources.
In fact, you can use other things to search for it. You can trigger other cards off of it that trigger when you install a program. You can sell it for money once it's empty. You can recur it from your heap. You can use it to pay for additional costs and just get more money out of it.
This card is like bad on its own, and even with all of this, I don't know if it's the best card ever, but I love it so much because it's the perfect card for the dumbass. Like, I play with all my little toys, and I make $10 from doing all of these shenanigans card. And that's how I play Netrunner. That's what I like to do.
And one bonus card that I've asked June to include is this one. This is another program that does nothing by itself. In fact, the flavor text says that it's a program that quote unquote does nothing, and it costs you 2 memory out of 4 just to have it out. And it says there's an instant speed ability here. It says for 2 credits and trash, so sacrifice this. Search your stack for a program, install it, and you will have to pay for the cost of that program as well.
Stack is your own.
Your deck, yes, it's your deck.
Okay, so this is a tutor.
Yeah, instant speed.
It also makes it instant speed.
Yep.
Which that actually seems really good, like a toolbox sort of like whatever it is that I end up needing. I can go in there, get that at instant speed for $2.
I just love this card. This is sort of This is sort of like when you want to show somebody what a faction is about, and you show them Llanowar elves or demonic tutor.
Yeah.
This is what green is all about. It's all about being able to act at instant speed. You've seen Arisanas. It also had instant speed stuff. They have the best tutoring. They have the best. People call them kickflips in this game. Just weirdo tricks they can do at instant speed just to completely upend the game. And this card is specific as being in the game. It's not just in the modern game. It's not just in the game as Fantasy Flight was building, but it was also in the original 90s Netrunner by Richard Garfield.
Oh, wow.
So this is one of the old... I think this is the only card that's almost entirely exactly the same throughout the entire course of the game, including the name.
It's weird finding out that these people move so fast, but also they live on ocean liners in the Arctic.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They have very good ocean liners. They have very good engines for weirdo maneuvers, for sure.
Well, you can't, like, how fast can you turn in an ocean liner?
You'd be surprised.
Like, really Tokyo drifting that thing across some polar bears. This seemed really really good.
It's great. SMC's a classic.
Yeah.
We showed a lot of green cards because we're perverts for green cards.
If it gets referred to by its acronym, that's probably pretty good. Nobody refers to crappy cards nobody plays by their acronym.
Yeah, no, that's a huge thing. Like, no one, I actually, when Aura asked for this card, I had to be like, what's SMC again? What does the name mean? Because I always just call it SMC. And that's like, yeah, this card is great.
Also, I feel like, even if you're not a Magic the Gathering person, you know that the card that has a lotus on it should be good.
This is our little black lotus right here, except it's a lot more colorful.
yeah, it's a rainbow lotus.
Yeah, but pretty much.
Yeah.
Hey, Daniel, thank you so much for your time. This was
really fun.
This was lovely. Great talking to you. Honestly, this is just reminding me how cool Netrunner was. I used to play it with Isaac when I would go there for Flesh and Blood, but sometimes Flesh and Blood didn't fire. And man, this is just reminding me that Netrunner is cool, and the fact that it's still going on after, I believe, like, what happened? Like, the company died, or something?
The license was lost, and the fans sort of took over,
That is, like, in a weird way, that sounds to me like the most Netrunner thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is the Cyberpunk card game being run in a Cyberpunk way, stolen out from beneath a corporation? It's awesome.
No, I love like a weird. Who is even? Does this mean there's nobody in charge? This is just like an anarchist collective on the internet.
It's a volunteer collective.
There's a group. There's a real group. Null Signal Games runs the game. You can get their. Yeah, if you found this video through not being into Netrunner just randomly, first off, wow, how'd you do that? Please let us know. Second off, Null Signal Games makes the game right now. They publish it. They make full sets. They're doing it arguably better than FFG ever did, in my opinion. They're great.
This is the year that Null Signal Games will have made the game for longer than Fantasy Flight Games did.
Also, if you found this video without knowing anything about Netrunner, and you noticed that it was always the good card on the right before me, keep it to your fucking self.
Yeah, please. I don't want to.
Yeah,
know.
please.
Comment. I will not read it, but comment.
Absolutely. We will read it and just nod and move on and say, you are cool in our hearts, but also why.
How long do you think that could have gone on before I noticed? It's like 50 cards deep.
I didn't notice either. Thank you all for your time. And I'm going to put these links in the description, but you can get this game for free at nullsignal.games and buy prints of the cards from there if you want to buy prints, or just print your own with your own printer. And if you don't want to print stuff, you can play online at jinteki.net. And if you want to comment, it's your time is free. Do what your heart desires. But know that you can play Netrunner with that time, and perhaps that's a better choice. Have a good night, everybody.
Yeah, thanks so much for watching.
Take care.
Before we go, Daniel, do you want to plug anything to an audience that's captive and has waited until the end?
We've done this at the beginning, but yeah.
No, I make a comic book that can only be purchased in the San Francisco Bay Area, so probably not gonna be a lot of crossover just off the random sampling here. But I don't know. I feel like I should say it's called Laser Witch Gang. I've just checked my Twitter because I'm like, oh, what would happen to me if somebody looked me up based on this and saw that my last tweet was saying that no one in the Encanto house could fuck or jerk off because that girl got hearing powers. And I'm like, yeah, that's not a great first impression.
No. Perhaps switch over that tweet before somebody sees it. And June, I bet you have better things to plug in. Or, good things to plug in that are more accessible on the internet.
Not right now. Follow me online on Twitch at Juniper Theory, on co-host at Juniper Theory, on anywhere else you can find me because I'm perfect. But aside from that, yeah, just find me online.
Sounds good. And thank you for your time, everybody. Hope you had fun.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.